My parents' dark secret. Freeloading at my duplex turned nightmare. What happened next? The day started like any other, but the moment Alex opened the door to their duplex, a chill ran down their spine. Something was off, like stepping into an old, forgotten movie. Dust swirled in the sunlight, casting strange shadows on the walls. The whispers of the past lingered in the air. Were those echoes? A sense of dread settled in as they turned toward the living room, where the real nightmare awaited. It wasn't much, just dingy signs of decay. The couch had worn spots, and every floorboard creaked like a ghost trying to speak. But then the floor beneath the kitchen rug felt different, a subtle dip, as if something was hidden below. Had their parents really kept such a big secret? The questions danced in Alex's mind, pairing with racing heartbeats. Curiosity clawed at them, but fear kept them rooted in place. Each tick of the clock echoed like a countdown to a revelation they weren't sure they were ready for. Were their parents involved in something sinister? Memories flashed, quiet arguments shared in hushed tones, secretive glances exchanged over dinner. What was truly happening in this duplex that had once felt like home? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Alex finally knelt down, fingers trembling as they tugged at the rug. What lay beneath was almost too much to bear. The wooden floor separated, revealing a dark, narrow opening. A pit, deep and foreboding. An angry rush of adrenaline surged through Alex as they leaned closer, eyes straining to see inside. What if secrets long buried came rushing out? Something from their parents' past, something unspeakable, stirred in the shadows. Only one question filled the silence. Were they ready to uncover the truth? Heart pounding, Alex peered into the darkness of the hidden pit. The air was heavy with the smell of damp earth, and a sensation of icy fingers brushing against their skin sent chills down their spine. Shadows flickered at the edge of their vision, teasing at what lay within. Call it intuition or pure paranoia. But something felt menacing about this discovery. Taking a deep breath, they reached for the flashlight on the kitchen counter, the beam cutting through the thick darkness. As the light spilled into the gap, the beam illuminated what looked like a box. Weathered and old, it sat at the bottom like a forgotten relic. Anxiety coursed through Alex as they grabbed the edge of the opening, leaning in closer. What if this box contained answers? Or worse, something to forever shatter their perception of their family? Just open it, they whispered to themselves, forcing their trembling hands to reach down and grasp the handle. The box felt unexpected, heavy with secrets. Light as air, as if it were refusing to reveal its contents. With a creak of wood and a flick of ancient metal, the lid lifted reluctantly, unveiling its contents. Inside lay a stack of dusty journals, their pages yellowed and the ink almost faded to nothing. Alex's heart raced. Had these been written by their parents? The thought filled them with dread and intrigue. Uncertain whether to dig deeper into their parents' past or retreat, they flipped open the top journal, the pages crumbling at the edges. The first entry read like a heartbeat, pulsing with raw emotion. Secrets kept too long, eat away in silence. The chill snaked back up Alex's spine. What had their parents been involved in? What kind of noise echoed in their hearts that they didn't dare to voice? They began to read, eyes flitting across the words filled with confessions and regrets. These weren't tales of mundane life. They were stories of betrayal, lost dreams, and a web of deceit that twisted and turned like a snake ready to strike. Each line felt heavier than the last, a growing burden that pressed against Alex's chest until they struggled to breathe. Suddenly, a noise outside interrupted their reading, a sharp bang followed by hurried footsteps. The world inside the duplex shifted as Alex's heart skipped a beat. Who could it be? Their parents were supposed to be out. What if someone discovered the secret they had just unearthed? Panic gripped their throat as they tried to shove the box back into its hiding place. That a figure appeared outside the window, silhouetted in the dim light, a shadow moving with urgency. Alex froze, attempting to catch their breath, torn between the urge to hide and the overpowering need to know. The figure knocked again, more forcefully this time. Was it a neighbor checking on them? Or something worse, a harbinger of the dark truth they had yet to fully grasp? Alex's instincts screamed at them to act. Feeling trapped, they glanced back at the journals, realizing they needed more time to comprehend their parents' torment. But outside, the figure persisted, pounding rhythmically at the door like an ominous drumroll leading to the unveiling of a horror yet to be revealed. Should they confront the figure outside or dive deeper into the chaos of their parents' silence? The secrets of the box and looming truth resonated in the tense air of the duplex. What was about to happen? Would revealing their parents' past save Alex or bury them in it? The knocking grew louder, more insistent, each thud sending raw panic through Alex. The journals lay open, words blurring into an incoherent mess as adrenaline surged. Every instinct told them to find shelter, to hide and tuck away the chaos they'd stumbled upon. But that rapping on the door felt like a countdown, a clock ticking towards a moment they couldn't escape. With a shaky breath, Alex stepped back from the pit, adrenaline pushing them toward the door. The figure outside was restless, shifting and moving like a coiled spring. What if it was a friend? A stranger? Or even some secret hunter trailing their parents' past? A surge of determination flooded through as they turned the doorknob, hesitating just for a second. The door swung inward and the light from the porch cast a stark shadow on the figure's face. Alex stumbled back, heart racing. A woman stood there, breathless and wide-eyed. She was familiar yet foreign, a flicker of recognition sparking before the fear took hold. It was a family friend, someone they hadn't seen since childhood. "Alex," she gasped, glancing over her shoulder nervously. "You have to come with me. Now." "Why? What's going on?" Their voice trembled, the urgency in her tone jolting them into a reality that felt dangerously unstable. "There's no time. They're looking for you, for your family. You have to come." Her eyes darted around as if the shadows had teeth, ready to bite them at any moment. Confusion swirled in Alex's mind. "Who's looking? What do you mean?" With instinct screaming to retreat inside, they felt the weight of the journals still in the pit, of the secrets digging deeper into their psyche. The woman stepped closer, lowering her voice. "We can't talk here. Just trust me. Your family's past, it's not what you think. There are things you don't know." The tension in the air thickened, pressing against Alex's chest. Were the secrets that lay within those journals truly alive, invading their present? "You don't understand, Alex," the woman continued, voice urgent and low. "They will come here. They can't find you. It's dangerous." Alex's mind raced. "What are you talking about?" "My parents, they're fine. They're away." Panic clawed at them, but the weight of the woman's gaze drew them in. "Fine?" she scoffed, anguish flashing in her eyes. "You have no idea what fine really means. We have to move. Now." Before Alex could reply, footsteps echoed from the hallway, heavy and deliberate. The sound stopped Alex's heart for a moment. Was someone else approaching? Were there more hidden truths lurking well beyond the dark pit in the floor, and those fragile journals? A voice called out from the shadows, "Alex, are you in there?" The unmistakable voice of their father sent a jolt of impending dread through them. What did he know? Would he simply brush this off? The woman's expression shifted to one of panic, and for a moment, Alex was torn between two worlds, one where they were safe, blissfully ignorant of what lurked within their family's history, and another where the dark past chased them down like a shadow. "Are you coming or not?" she hissed, urgency lacing her tone. The door quivered with their father's knocks, and time teetered uneasily. What would they do? Choose the truth, or the thin veil of safety? Silence hung thick in the air, suffocating Alex's resolve. Just as they made their decision, that sharp bang sounded again from the door, and beneath it all, the journals whispered unspoken horrors. Would they unravel their parents' secrets? Or would the world outside swallow them whole? The footsteps lingered, a macabre drumbeat echoing in Alex's ears. They felt like weights pulling them down, suffocating under the pressures of the unknown, and of that familiar voice. Was it really safer to stay? Or was stepping out into the shadows the only option left? "Alex," the voice called again. The urgency was palpable, an anchor pulling at their resolve. Heart-thudding, they caught sight of the woman's face, frantic and pleading. "Who are you to say they're in danger?" The doubt in Alex's voice was sharp. "Because I know," she insisted, glancing back at the door with wide eyes. "Your father is not who you think he is. None of them are." Her words felt like knives, carving away at the perceptions Alex had clung to. "What do you mean?" But before she could explain further, the door rattled under the force of another knock. The sound sliced the air, heavy with anticipation. Alex's instincts screamed for them to stay hidden. Yet the turmoil within compelled them to discover the truth. "Alex." The voice was strained now, infused with an urgency that sent chills down their spine. "Open the door. We need to talk." The woman beside them was shaking her head, terror etched on her features. "We don't have time. They'll find you. We need to go." A groan slipped through Alex's lips, frustration battling against the gnawing fear. "Why should I trust you?" "Because your life depends on it," she hissed, gripping Alex's arm tight enough to hurt. But the intensity of her urgency only fed their anxiety. They needed answers. Yet all the shadows around them thickened into a vice, squeezing the breath from their lungs. What's next? They knock down the door and take me? They had always thought of their family as steady, reliable. This chaos felt unreal. "More than that," she whispered as her eyes darted nervously. "You'll end up just like your mother." The world tilted, and Alex's heartbeat turned into thunder. Just like their mother? The implication rattled inside their skull. "What do you know about my mother?" But the woman couldn't answer. Her gaze was fixed past Alex, eyes wide with despair. The footsteps grew closer, moving intentionally now, echoing like a countdown towards an inevitable disaster. "Alex." The voice from outside broke through the tension like glass shattering. "I don't know what you're mixed up in, but I can help you. Just open the door." The concept of family began to split into shards in Alex's mind. Who was this man? What did he carry behind those desperate words? Doubt knotted in their stomach, mixing with fear and the persistent pressure of the woman's grip. Choices flashed before them, each heavy with consequence. "Now," she urged again, her voice rising. "We can't wait. They're already here." With a sudden rush of adrenaline, Alex made a decision. They turned away from the door, the secrets in the pit of the floor haunting their thoughts like ghosts. "What's your plan?" "To get you out of here." She jerked her head toward the back of the house, where the shadows were less ominous, a beckoning promise of escape. "We'll find the truth together. But we have to move now." The weight of uncertainty hung heavily on Alex as they glanced finally at the door. Their father's voice now mixed with something darker, something that told of hidden, sinister truths. "Do you trust me?" The woman's eyes were fierce, demanding. In that moment, everything hinged on one leap of faith. Breathless with urgency, Alex found themselves nodding. The woman's grip tightened as they moved towards the back. The sound of the door splintering echoed through the house. What awaited them in the depths of their family's past was darker than they could ever imagine. As they fled down the corridor, a frantic question flared in Alex's mind. What hidden horrors lay in wait, ready to engulf them whole? But the riddle of their family's truth would soon chase them into a storm they had never anticipated. They stumbled through the narrow hallway, shadows swirling around them like ghosts ready to swallow them whole. The woman ahead moved fast, almost like she knew the house better than Alex did. Each step they took seemed to reverberate against the walls, a countdown to discovery. "Do you hear that?" Alex whispered, their heart racing wildly with each echoing creak. The woman nodded, glancing back at Alex, her eyes wild. "Keep going. We have to get to the back door." As they approached the kitchen, Alex's shoulders tightened. This place was supposed to be safe, a sanctuary filled with memories of laughter and home. Now it felt like a trap. The warm scent of cinnamon from last week's baking suddenly felt nauseating, a cruel reminder of normalcy. "Why did you come here?" Alex blurted, trying to fill the silence with something other than the pounding of their heartbeat. "I had to warn you." Her voice trembled. "I heard them talking. About you. About your past. They've been watching you for months." Alex felt a cold shiver crawl up their spine. "About my mother?" "Yes." She urged them on, her grip never wavering. She was involved in something dangerous. And then a crash erupted from the living room, splintering the air with a violent force. It echoed through the house, drowning out her words and filling Alex with a stark realization. There was no safe space left. "Move!" the woman shouted, and Alex's legs responded, racing after her as they turned sharply down a dark corridor leading to a back door they had never paid much attention to. The door loomed ahead, an unyielding wooden figure standing between them and freedom. The woman pounded on it with urgency, her desperation reflecting in the glass that lined the back wall. "Please, please be open." Beyond them, a deeper voice echoed through the house, deep and commanding. "Alex, I know you're in there. This is your last chance. Open the door. Go." The woman shoved against the door, leaning her weight into it. Alex joined her, the force of adrenaline making their efforts seem almost effortless. Just a little more. But the voice Alex's father was gaining ground, the threat laced with an unmistakable edge. It twisted the very air they breathed. "I want to ask again. Open the door now, or the door's handle rattled, and panic surged through Alex. What if he gets in? You want to? Just trust me." The woman's eyes were fierce, and for a moment, Alex thought they saw something almost like hope hidden in the chaos. With a final push, the door creaked open slightly, and Alex felt a rush of cold air. "We need to move." They stepped through, feet landing on frosty grass in the backyard. Night enveloped them, cloaking their escape. But as they stole a few steps away from the house, Alex froze, gripping the woman's arm. "Where do we go now?" Before she could answer, a sound sliced through the quiet, a low growl. From the shadows, dark figures emerged, stepping into the pale moonlight. They were waiting, just outside the glow, their sinister smiles breaking through the darkness. "Nowhere is safe," the woman breathed, panic seeping into her voice. "You have to trust me." Alex's heart plummeted. Betrayal loomed in the air, thicker than fog. Were they truly choosing safety, or falling straight into a trap? As the figures drew nearer, Alex caught sight of something glinting in the moonlight, a familiar family emblem. A dead giveaway that sent their world spiraling into chaos once again. What their family hid could cost them everything. But at that moment, Alex's mind, racing through confusion and dread, couldn't shake the chilling thought. What if their choices sealed their fate? The growl reverberated through the night, a deep, menacing sound that made every hair on Alex's body stand on end. The dark figures, cloaked in shadows, moved closer, seemingly gliding across the grass. Alex's heart raced. Who were they? What did they want? "Stay back," the woman shouted, stepping in front of Alex, her eyes locked onto the advancing figures. She looked fierce but vulnerable, a shield made of desperation. "Get ready to run." Alex could feel dread pooling in their stomach. It settled there like a stone. "Do you know them?" "They're part of the family," she gritted through clenched teeth. "But not the part you want to meet." Before Alex could process that statement, several figures broke away from the shadows, lunging toward them. The woman shouted and grabbed Alex's hand, pulling them along with a force that felt both protective and frantic. The world blurred as they darted across the yard, the cold night air biting at their skin. They turned to the left, heading for a line of trees that bordered the property. The growling intensified, mixed with low hissing sounds that made Alex's heart pound faster. Were these creatures human? Shadows morphed before their eyes, and in the corner of Alex's vision, a familiar emblem glinted under the moonlight, a family crest twisted into an unrecognizable shape. The symbols of family ties now felt like entrapments. Behind them, the growls blended into harsh laughter, echoing ominously. "You think you can run? You belong to us." One figure taunted, the voice jagged and sharp, slicing through the chaos. "Go!" the woman yelled, and they dashed toward the safety of the closest tree. Alex's legs screamed for rest, but the fear propelling them forward was stronger than any fatigue. As they reached the safety of the trees, the dense foliage blocked some of the moonlight, casting them into a cloak of near darkness. The woman paused briefly, pressing her back against the rough bark, her breath coming in quick bursts. "Who are they?" Alex gasped, trying to catch their breath as adrenaline fueled their fear. "They're your mother's family, the ones she tried to keep you away from." The urgency in her eyes deepened. "They've been waiting for her slip-up, and now they've found you." A crack of a branch nearby sent a jolt of terror through Alex. They turned to see a tall figure stepping forward, moonlight glinting off a long knife, the emblem burned into its handle. Stricken, Alex recognized it. The same symbol embedded in every piece of their mother's jewelry, the danger she had hidden all their lives. Stop! The woman's voice trembled, but she stepped toward the figure. You can't take him. A chilling grin spread across the figure's face. Oh, but he's ours now. You can't protect him from the truth. Alex's breath hitched. What truth? But the figure only laughed, a sound dripping with malice. The woman's eyes darted between Alex and the dark figure, her expression torn, desperate for a solution. They want to manipulate you, to take your legacy and use it against you. We need to get away from here. As the figure took a step closer, Alex felt the ground beneath their feet shift. A choice lay before them, pulling them in two directions. Then the woman whispered urgently, this way. She tugged at Alex's sleeve, dragging them deeper into the shadows of the trees. But as they stumbled away, the laughter echoed behind them, a haunting reminder of the family secret that was now chasing them into the night. Hold on tight, she urged, her voice barely above a whisper. Will they escape? Or will they unravel the darkness that's tied to their very existence? As they raced through the trees, a piercing scream ripped through the night, echoing unsettlingly in the silence that followed. Alex, we need to decide, trust me, or trust the darkness. They plunged deeper into the trees, the thick branches clawing at their clothes and skin, as if the very earth sought to claim them. The woman's grip on Alex tightened, her fingers biting into their wrist. They both knew they couldn't slow down. Whatever was behind them had hunger in its voice. Keep running, she gasped, casting furtive glances over her shoulder. Distant laughter snaked through the darkness, a chilling chorus that twisted Alex's stomach. Each note felt like daggers, reminding them that the shadows were closer than they realized. The underbrush crackled beneath their hurried steps, branches snapping like bones. They ducked and weaved between the trees, moonlight flickering around them like fleeting hope. What do they mean by the truth? Alex asked, their heart pounding in sync with the frantic rhythm of their feet. It's about your mother, she panted, her breath catching. What she hid from you. There's a reason she kept you away from them, and they want you back. Back. The word slipped through Alex's lips, heavy with fear. Back to where? To them? She nodded, her eyes wide with urgency. Yes. It's a legacy that's been passed down, a darkness you can't even imagine. They'll try to pull you into it. Use you just like they did her. The mention of their mother made Alex's chest tighten. The memories were like shards of glass, painful and sharp. She had always warned them about family, kept them at a distance. But why? What had she done? Before they could wrestle with these thoughts, a loud crash sounded behind them. And the laughter grew closer, louder, more manic. A figure burst into view, one of the cloaked shadows, darting through the trees with impossibly graceful speed. Run faster, the woman shouted, pulling Alex along again. Suddenly, the ground beneath them dipped sharply, revealing a shallow ravine filled with jagged rocks. Alex hesitated, their instinct screaming at them to stop. But before they could voice their fear, the woman had jumped, pulling Alex with her. They tumbled into the ravine, landing on the cool earth with a grunt. For a moment, the world spun, and the cries of the pursuers faded into a distant roar. Breathless, they lay beneath the canopy, shadows wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. Alex pushed themselves up, glancing at the woman. What now? Their voice cracked, the weight of uncertainty pressing down like a boulder. Hide, she urged, her gaze darting toward the opening of the ravine. They won't expect us here. If we can stay quiet, they might pass. Tension clung to the air like mist, thick and pulsating. Alex wanted to ask more about their family's secrets and the woman's connection to it all. But the urgency of the situation stifled their curiosity. They could hear footsteps approaching, quick and deliberate. Hand over mouth, they shared a panicked glance. Then, without warning, the laughter erupted again, this time from above. The figures had found their trail. They went this way, came a voice dripping with amusement. Alex felt their pulse quicken, terror clawing at their stomach. Stay low. Don't move, the woman hissed, her eyes fierce yet haunted. They crouched against the rocky wall, hearts hammering in unison. praying that the shadows wouldn't find them here. As the footsteps crept closer, and the laughter grew louder, Alex felt the ground shake beneath them. It was as if the very earth was reacting to the impending confrontation. The figures began to peer over the edge, their faces illuminated by the pale moonlight. "What are we going to do?" Alex whispered, feeling the dread coil within. "Trust me," the woman said with a determined glint in her eyes. But before she could finish, the rocky wall gave way, and they both felt the world tilt as the ground slid beneath them. Suddenly, they were being pulled down into an even darker chasm. "Alex!" the woman screamed, the darkness swallowing her words. What awaited them at the bottom? Would they uncover the truth behind their mother's legacy, or become trapped in the family's shadows forever? A surge of air rushed past them as they spiraled down into the abyss, gravity yanking them deeper into darkness. Alex's heart raced, panic gripping them tight as the cold earth enveloped their bodies. There was a jaw-clenching moment of freefall, followed by a hard stop and impact that rattled their bones. Stars danced in Alex's vision as they blinked into the darkness. The air was heavy and damp, with a musty smell that clung to their nostrils. They pushed themselves up, disoriented, feeling the weight of the woman's hands slipping from their grip. "Are you okay?" they croaked into the dimness. Just a minute," the woman said, her voice strained. She scrambled to her feet, brushing dirt off her clothes. The shadows around them felt alive, swirling and pressing close, suffocating and damp. "Where are we?" Alex mumbled, their throat dry with unease. The walls around them loomed high, fragments of roots and rock jutted out like bones of the earth itself. This was no mere ditch, it felt like a tomb. "We fell into the old tunnels," the woman said, urgency coloring her tone. "They run beneath this whole area, and they're part of the secrets your mother kept." "Secrets?" Alex's voice trembled. "Why are we here, and what is so important about them?" "They're the key," she replied, scanning the darkness around them. "The key to who you really are." The shadows closed in tighter, almost whispering. Threads of laughter echoed from far away, twisting the air with dread. Each chuckle felt like a warning. They both instinctively moved closer, huddling against the moist stone wall. "Those sounds, they're hunting us," Alex murmured, feeling their palms grow clammy. "We need to get out of here." "Listen," the woman said, placing a calming hand on Alex's shoulder. "We might find a way out if we move further in. But we have to be silent. They'll follow every sound." Nodding, Alex held their breath. Shadows flickered on the walls as they shifted deeper into the tunnel. Every scuff of their shoes echoed like an alert signal, and they winced at every sound that dared to break the eerie silence. The laughter morphed into a twisted song, heightening Alex's fear. "What do you know about my mother?" Alex pressed, desperate to fill the oppressive void with knowledge, knowing it might ease their mind. "She was involved in something powerful," the woman whispered, her eyes scanning the gloom. "She tried to escape it." "They didn't like that, not at all." Alex's thoughts whirled. Escape what? What did she do? Memories of their mother's cryptic warnings flooded back. The furtive glances, the hesitant words spoken in hushed tones. "I can't say more now," she insisted, glancing nervously back toward the tunnel entrance. "But we don't have much time. We must find the controls, the ones she hid. They hold the truth." Before Alex could respond, a sharp noise shattered the stillness. The giggling, closer now. The footsteps echoed down the tunnel. Panic surged through Alex's veins, boiling over into an almost uncontrollable impulse to run. "Go." The woman pulled Alex towards an opening up ahead, an unseen passage that beckoned with a flicker of hope. They rushed forward, barely managing to keep their footing. Just as they crossed the threshold, they heard voices behind them, inhuman, mocking, edged with a chilling delight. "They're close, they're close." A voice called. The shadows shifted, morphing into figures that slipped through the darkness like liquid smoke. "That way," the woman shouted, pointing down a narrow corridor. "It might lead us out." They barreled forward, adrenaline pumping. But the shadows pursued relentlessly, laughter mixing with sinister whispers. The walls echoed with their frantic breaths, and Alex felt the walls closing in, both literally and figuratively. Suddenly, the corridor opened into a vast chamber, lit by an eerie glow. Glimmering stones lined the walls, and at the center lay an altar-like structure, adorned with strange symbols. This is it, the woman breathed, awe and terror mingling in her expression. Do you think this can help us? Alex hesitated, glancing back. That depends, she answered, her gaze fixating on the altar. It holds something that will change everything. But the shadows were closing in, loomed ominously. With nowhere left to run, Alex felt a shiver crawling down their spine. What if we can't handle the truth? Just before they could retreat, hands emerged from the shadows, stretching toward them with a desperate need. The moment of revelation hung in the air. Would they dare to confront their family's darkest secret? Would they emerge stronger, or be consumed by the expectations waiting in the darkness? The altar loomed before them, ancient symbols shimmering with a light that felt almost alive. The air thickened with tension as shadowy hands reached out, clawing toward them in a grotesque ballet of desperation. Alex took a step back, heart hammering in their chest. What do they want? Don't speak. The woman hissed, her breath hitching. We have to focus. The shadows pulsed, an eerie rhythm syncing with Alex's racing heart. They could feel the life force in the chamber, swirling and shifting, both sinister and inviting. The stones, glowing faintly, hummed, each vibration resonating within Alex's bones. They wanted to touch the altar, to understand what lay before them, but fear rooted them in place. We don't have much time, the woman urged, her eyes frantic, darting between Alex and the advancing hands. Your mother hid the truth here, but it's not just information. It's a power that they want. Power? Alex echoed, confusion gnawing at their resolve. Why would I want anything to do with that? Because it's your legacy. You're more than just a child of this world. You have a connection to whatever this is. She thrust her arm toward the altar, imploring, we're running out of time. The hands lurched closer, twisting shadows mixing with the laughter that echoed eerily around them. You shouldn't ignore the past, Alex. They seemed to chant in a cacophony of gibbering voices. The truth will set you free, fine. Alex blurted, spiraling into a decision made out of fear rather than understanding. They stumbled forward, heart racing faster than their feet. Let us see what's on that altar. As Alex reached out, a wave of warmth enveloped their fingers. It felt almost familiar, like the embrace of a long-lost friend. A sudden surge of energy coursed through them, illuminating the symbols carved into the stone with an otherworldly light. Each mark pulsed, refracting light like prisms under the dark, cavernous sky. In that moment, images flooded Alex's mind. Memories, not their own, flashes of a woman with fierce eyes and wild determination. Glimpses of a menacing figure cloaked in shadows, whose laughter echoed with malice. The air crackled with intensity. They gasped, realizing this was more than history. It was a warning, a reminder of the legacy that carried its burdens. No, the woman cried, but it was too late. Alex's mind flooded with understanding that was too vast to handle. Pain burst through their skull like glass shattering, and they staggered backwards. I can't handle this. It's too powerful. You have to focus, she shouted, desperate. But the shadows moved with a mind of their own, inching closer, drawn to the disturbance. Doubt clawed at Alex. What if they're right? They whispered, staring at the altar with a blend of dread and curiosity. What if this truth consumes us? Then we'll fight it together, she implored, stepping into the light of the symbols, challenging the shadows. You're stronger than this. As the shadows converged, the atmosphere thickened with an almost tangible fear, vibrating with a chaotic energy. A rising tide of darkness threatened to engulf them, tugging at Alex's thoughts. Laughter echoed louder, now a chilling symphony blending with the very essence of the chamber, drowning them in its malevolence. With a deep breath, Alex steadied themselves. Together they whispered back, unsure but determined. But just as they thought they had grasped the thread of control, visions flooded back the faces of people Alex knew, but from a time that was impossibly distant. They recognized pain in those eyes. Betrayal. The shadows flared, hungry, and the altar's glow flickered in response to Alex's turmoil. Suddenly, a deafening roar erupted from the altar, a surge of energy that shook the chamber, forcing both of them backward. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and the shadows recoiled, momentarily stunned by the light. We've awakened something, the woman cried, as a surge of wind whipped through the chamber, carrying whispers that twisted the air with renewed ferocity. As the shadows began to withdraw, Alex realized they must make a choice: stay and confront whatever was awakening within them, or flee before the reality of their lineage could consume them. In that electrifying moment, a chilling truth gripped their heart. There was no right choice. Run! The woman shouted, pulling Alex back toward the narrow corridor they had come from, urgency flooding her voice. But something deep inside whispered that they had crossed a threshold that could never be uncrossed. The dark future beckoned, and they could not escape its pull. As they raced down the corridor, uncertainty loomed. What awaited them above? Would they ever truly escape the shadows that danced along the edges of their past? A crack echoed behind them, the ground vibrating as terror chased them through the tunnels. Time was running, but answers still waited in the chaos above. Do you ever wonder what's really in the light? Alex dared to ask, their voice barely a whisper, swallowed by the darkness. More than you know, the woman replied, determination igniting in her eyes. And we're going to find out. But as they sprinted toward the unknown, the air shimmered ominously, and a laugh echoed once more, a reminder that they hadn't seen the last of what haunted them. What lay in the world above? Would it only bring more questions? The tight confines of the tunnel seemed to warp around them, shadows shrinking and stretching as they sprinted. Each step echoed like a drumbeat in Alex's ears, a constant reminder of the danger chasing them. The woman held onto Alex's arm tightly, guiding them through the twisting darkness with a mix of earnest desperation and fierce resolve. Keep moving. We're almost there, she urged, voice barely above a whisper, the urgency palpable. Questions raced in Alex's mind, but they pushed them aside. It didn't matter now. Survival was the only concern. The shadows in the distance flickered ominously, not fully disappearing, but drawing back, a warning that their presence loomed still. The tunnel narrowed, and they reached an opening leading up to a set of rusty stairs. The light filtering through the cracks in the ceiling shone down like a beacon of hope. This way, the woman shouted, darting ahead without hesitation. Alex followed, heart racing, lungs burning, the thrill of escape battling against the dread of the unknown weight pressing down. As they climbed, Alex glanced back. The shadows had halted at the entrance, swirling like a storm waiting for a signal to strike. An odd mix of relief and fear coursed through them. They reached the top and pushed through a door that creaked loudly against the silence of the night. The moon hung low, illuminating the backyard of the duplex, casting long shadows over the ground. They emerged into the cool air, but the familiar feeling of home had warped into something sinister. Their heart raced at the thought of what lay beyond the boundaries of this concrete shell they once called home. Where's the back door? Alex gasped, urgency invading the calm stillness. Uncertain of trusting this woman, but feeling deep in their core that she had been their only lifeline, they felt a flicker of hope blaze inside them. Over there. She pointed towards a gate leading to a forest beyond the yard, a dark mass of trees standing ready to embrace their escape. But before they could move, the ground trembled once more. The figures from the shadows stepped into the dim light, faces twisted into manic grins. You can't run from your bloodline. One sneered, a malevolence dripping from each word. Panic surged through Alex. Could they escape this chaos? Run! The woman shouted, her grip tightening around Alex's wrist. They dashed towards the gate, the laughter of the dark figures trailing behind like thunder. Just as they reached the gate, Alex felt an icy grip on their shoulder pulling them back, threatening to drag them into the darkness again. Let go of me! Alex shouted, wrestling free, adrenaline propelling them forward. With one last burst of speed, they flung open the gate, the rusty hinges groaning in protest. They plunged into the trees, branches clawing at them as they ran deeper into the forest. Keep going! The woman shouted, glancing back to see if they had followed. We have to find the clearing. Why is this happening? Alex choked out between breaths, mind whirling with thoughts of family and secrets, churning at the uneasy truths they buried deep inside. Because your mother hid a powerful truth to protect you, she yelled in return, urgency ever present in her gaze. They want to claim you and that power. You're part of something they can't control. Why didn't she just tell me? The rawness in Alex's voice trembled with frustration. The revelations and betrayals were heavy, threatening to crush them with each new piece of information. Because she feared they'd come for you. The woman replied, determination glimmering. She made choices to protect you. They stumbled into a clearing, thick trees forming a protective ring around them like guardians of hidden knowledge. The moon bathed the area in silvery light, illuminating a flat stone covered in intricate carvings, the same symbols that had marked the altar below. This is it, the woman's voice softened. This is where they will come for you. What do we do? Alex asked, eyes darting back towards the trees, nerves fraying at the thought of being discovered. We stand and face them. I'll help you. But you must confront the truth, she said firmly, steeling herself as artificial night filtered into the clearing. The trees rustled ominously, and shadows flickered closer. Figures emerged from the dark, sinister and hungry, the laughter replaced by a menacing silence. They whispered amongst themselves, their intentions clear. Your place is with us, one sneered, the words dripping with charm but poison within. Join us, reclaim your true destiny. No, Alex shouted, voice breaking harshly against the silence. I don't want anything to do with you. The woman stood protective, a barrier against the encroaching shadows. You can't manipulate him anymore. Not this time. Alex's heart raced, battling between the dark legacy they had been born into and the life they desired. Could they really choose their destiny? Could they push back against the tides that threatened to consume them? With a steadying breath, Alex took a step forward. I refuse to be a pawn. I decide my own fate. The figures paused, momentarily taken aback. Their laughter echoed, a sinister melody dancing in the air, growing louder as if mocking Alex's bravery. Oh, you think you have a choice? One sneered, eyes gleaming with malice as shadows twisted around, gathering strength. Together, the woman whispered, her voice steady. You have more strength than you know. Just believe. The shadows stirred, sensing the defiance brewing. The air crackled with tension as Alex felt something inside ignite, a flicker of power rising, harmony aligning with defiance. Get ready, the woman hissed, gripping Alex's arm tightly as the figures lunged forward. In that moment, they uncurled their fists and thrust of the tension rippled through their veins. The stone beneath their feet glowed fiercely, awakening memories long suppressed, energy surging through Alex, a brilliance shining forth, pushing back against the advancing shadows. Light erupted, engulfing the figures, causing them to recoil as the shadows writhed and screamed in their fury. The clearing transformed into a radiant bastion of shattered darkness, spiraling sparks of luminescence purging the threats that loomed. No! They shrieked, voices twisted in anguish, dimming into the depths of the night. The light resonated. Alex felt the shadows dispersing, unraveling from their lives, burning away the binding legacies, reclaiming their worth, a powerful freedom slicing through the darkness. With one last pulse of energy, the figures vanished, swallowed back into the abyss, their laughter lingering only as a fading echo. Silence enveloped the clearing anew, calming silence and into the chaos that had chased them. Breathless, Alex turned to the woman beside them, heart pounding but no longer frayed. Is it over? Her eyes sparkled with understanding and strength. For now. But you must always be vigilant. Your life is your own, and choices should never be taken lightly. With every breath, a deep sense of relief washed over Alex, a newfound understanding settling in. They were free to forge their own path. No longer bound by the darkness above. As they stood in the middle of the clearing, the moonlight pouring upon them like a promise of new beginnings, they understood that the shadows may always linger, but they had the power to choose the light. Let us go home, Alex said softly, feeling the strength within surge, wrapping them in a shield as they turned back toward safety, leaving the uncertainty behind. They walked forward together, ready to embrace a new beginning, determined to create a future devoid of shadows, finally reclaiming not only their name, but their life. Don't just stand there, subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait even one more second to share.